If there's something I know for certain about emotions in our mind and triggered states and how to move through them, it's that you can guarantee that when you're in a triggered state, anything your mind says is absolute rubbish, because this is designed to keep this under control or to work it out. Critical analysis is a habit that we do up here with our emotions in order to try and get away from it. And while that might make us feel good in the moment, we're actually missing an opportunity to transcend and let the emotions do their thing, which is to be seen, felt, heard, and validated, which requires us to sit back in an observer seat and disidentify, which means don't identify with the emotion. Don't get so up in it, feeling it and collapsing into it and losing your shit in the emotion. You can lose your shit as long as you're feeling it fully and you're fully present with the feeling and not up here in story, but don't collapse into it, right? They need to be seen, felt, and heard. And if you're up here under critical analysis, going through all of the reasons of why you feel this way, especially if those reasons are about Jimmy or George or Susie or Salen or Victor or I don't know why I'm going into names, but right, the bottom line is here, whatever this says while you're triggered is not actually the reason that you're triggered. It's not really what it's about. Our mind goes into panic and it grasps at anything it can to try and explain why we're feeling this way. That's why if you pick up the phone, you talk to your coach or your therapist or a friend or someone who's really good at listening and holding space, that if they're great at it, they'll allow you to, I guess, unload and unpack by speaking, right? Just speaking what it is that you're feeling. And even coaches or therapists will ask you to use the term like, I feel this way or I'm feeling this way. And that's because it allows us to almost purge that by having a non-judgmental container. However, you also might notice that they might interrupt you when you're on that rampage if you're in a state of blame and you're like, this is this person's fault and this is why it's happening. You know, that's projection. That's really outward going and it perpetuates the feeling. In order to be able to, let's say, like, receive the wisdom from what's coming up within you, you need to actually step back. So it's almost a leaning back and away from what you're feeling, disidentifying by not collapsing in, as I said before, but not disassociating, right? So not pushing away. And you can sit and open to it fully, get out of your head and feel it. And if you really relax in your body, as well as your breath and your energy, and you use some coherent, even rhythmic breathing through in and out your nostrils to calm down your mind, and you allow yourself, even for 3 minutes, to feel what you're feeling fully, that energy of the emotion will dissolve. And sometimes, without expectation, by the way, don't expect this, but sometimes wisdom comes through. An example of this is when I remember working with a client once, and she was in a situation where she felt in so much pain, and she was certain that her kids and her husband and the way that they were to her were to blame for really how she was feeling, and she was quite upset. And it was so true to her that what she was feeling was painful. And I always say to my clients, I'm never going to take your pain away from you, but I will ask you to honor it and own your responsibility in that role. And let's get out of here, get away from the story and the details, drop into the body. Once we do that and dissolves, it clears. And then I say, now, can you tell me about the problem again? And they realize, no, actually, it wasn't even that. Or they realize it wasn't frustration, it wasn't anger, it wasn't anxiety, it wasn't overwhelm. It was probably a deeper sadness or maybe a self-rejection or something that we don't like to touch or talk about because it sounds like too out there, or, you know, maybe we're too spiritual or we're too calm in order to have experienced this thing. So, you know, we reject it within ourselves, and of course it becomes the shadow. So what I'm saying here is when you're triggered, don't believe this. Drop into your body and use presence to work through it and allow it to move through you. And if wisdom so happens to come through afterwards and you have some insight from that, great. If not, that's okay. Just trust that sometimes emotions will rise up. Even depression comes through when we're going through a growth phase. Because when we break apart, what comes up and out was already inside of us. And whenever we're up here, when we're triggered, we are not sovereign beings because we're not taking responsibility. We're not honoring what's coming through, and we're not able to heal and transcend and grow. It's like almost every single time we're triggered, we go through a bit of a caterpillar, like a cocoon. We collapse in and then we grow and then we come through to a butterfly. We do these mini cycles over and over again, sometimes on a big scale in our life through large phases, yearly, annually, women monthly, and women and men daily, depending on what's coming up and where the world is right now. And at the moment, 2020, is really pushing a lot of buttons. So just know that maybe don't trust your mind so much. Trust what you know deep down and honor your feelings, but get out of here and use your body in order to connect with what you feel. Move out of the road, don't disassociate, and just allow what's rising up to do its thing. Then this will clear and you'll have a clear path from the center of your being in order to just keep going on about your life from there.